having a great day. We're going to get back into our very basic Bible study, looking at chapter 19 of the book of Joshua. Remember, Joshua and the children of Israel had entered the promised land and were taking it over. And things got kind of stalled. You can imagine the weariness of fighting for years. So Joshua sent out survey teams, and the survey teams came back and they divided up a portion of the land. I had a question on why he had to survey the land in this way. And my take on this is simple. When you have, let's say, a group of children, let's say 3 or 4 children, and you have a pie, and you're going to divide that pie equally, one way to prevent them from arguing among each other is let them divide it in equal portions, and then you draw lots, and they each get a portion based upon the lot that's drawn. They're going to take great pains to make sure that they divide that pie equally because nobody wants to be shorted. That's a simplistic view, but I think that's kind of what's going on here. Is Joshua is letting the tribes, remember the survey team had representatives from each tribe. They go out and survey the land. They divide the portions up, and now they're going to draw lots to see who gets the remaining portions. Now remember, 2.5 tribes already have their property on the east side of the Jordan, and then we saw on the west side of the Jordan, as they've already started dividing up the land, and I've provided a couple of little rough diagrams for that. But now there's 7 remaining tribes, and they're going to draw lots for these pieces that the surveyors have drawn up. So let's see how that goes, and we'll make a few comments along the way. Verse 1 of chapter 19. Then the second lot fell to Simeon, and the tribe of the sons of Simeon according to their families, and their inheritance was in the midst of the inheritance of the sons of Judah. They're getting land in the middle of the inheritance of the sons of Judah. Well, if you go down to verse 9, it says, the inheritance of the sons of Simeon was taken from the portion of the sons of Judah, for the share of the sons of Judah was too large for them. So the sons of Simeon received an inheritance in the midst of Judah's inheritance. So they're kind of in the middle of Judah's inheritance, kind of intermingled in there, and that's reflected in the rough chart. But verses 1 through 9 describe the boundaries of that portion. Then we come to verse 10, and it says, the third lot came up for the sons of Zebulun according to their families, and the territory of their inheritance was as far as Sarid. And then verses 10 through 16 describe the boundaries of their property, and I've included that on a rough diagram for you. Then we jump to verse 17, and it says, the fourth lot fell to Issachar, to the sons of Issachar according to their families. And then verse 17 through 23 describes the boundaries of their land. And again, another chart for you to take a look at. Then in verse 24 through 31, we have the boundaries of the inheritance of Asher. And so I've depicted that on the rough chart as well. Then from verse 32 to verse 39, we have the boundaries of the lot given to Naphtali. And then starting in verse 40, we have the boundaries of the property given to the tribe of Dan. Now, verse 47 indicates, something that hasn't been mentioned with the other tribes here, and I'll read that. And the territory of the sons of Dan proceeded beyond them, for the sons of Dan went up and fought with Leshem and captured it. Then they struck it with the edge of the sword and possessed it and settled in it, and they called Leshem Dan after the name of Dan their father. So they had to go in and do some fighting to take over this land. That's not to say there wasn't some fighting in the others as well, but it's highlighted here, so we can imagine this must have been pretty significant fighting that took place. Then starting in verse 49, now that all the tribes have been given their allotments, as you can see in the chart I provided, there's going to be a special allotment. So let's look at verse 49. When they finished apportioning the land for inheritance by its borders, the sons of Israel gave an inheritance in their midst to Joshua, the son of Nun. In accordance with the command of the Lord, they gave him the city for which he asked, Timnath-serah, and the hill country of Ephraim. So he built the city and settled in it. So in honoring God's command earlier, and in honoring Joshua for his leadership, they actually give him a city within the allotment given to Ephraim. And so verse 51 sums it up and says, These are the inheritances which Eleazar the priest and Joshua the son of Nun and the heads of the households of the tribes of the sons of Israel distributed by lot in Shiloh before the Lord at the doorway of the tent of meeting. So they finished dividing the land. So it's been a lengthy process, and some of them still have to go in and fully possess the land that's been given to them. But the division of the land is finished. God had promised that he would provide land. This is the promised land. They've now gone in and taken it. It's been divided up. And so now we're going to look at some special situations within that division. The first thing we're going to look at is in chapter 20, and that is the designation of cities of refuge. Now, in these Bible times, if someone was killed, the tradition was that the family of the person that was killed would take revenge on whoever the killer was. And so here we have a provision that's going to protect a person who accidentally kills someone, or there's a killing that's not premeditated murder. Maybe there was a disagreement, an argument, there was a fight, and a blow was thrown and the person died, but it wasn't premeditated murder where someone planned well in advance to commit a murder, kill someone. So let's see what these cities of refuge are going to be like and how they're going to be used. Chapter 20. Then the Lord spoke to Joshua, saying, Speak to the sons of Israel, saying, Designate the cities of refuge of which I spoke to you through Moses. And why? Verse 3. That the manslayer who kills any person unintentionally, without premeditation, may flee there, and they shall become your refuge from the avenger of blood. So they can flee to this city, so whoever is trying to avenge the blood of their relative would have to stop and wouldn't be able to pursue this person into this city of refuge. That doesn't mean it's a get out of jail free card, but it's kind of like protective custody, if I can use that term, until the case is decided on in front of the congregation. So let's keep reading. Verse 4. And he shall flee to one of these cities, and he shall stand at the entrance of the gate of the city, and state his case in the hearing of the elders of that city. And they shall take him into the city to them, and give him a place, so that he may dwell among them. Verse 5. Now if the avenger of blood pursues him, then they shall not deliver the manslayer into his hand, because he struck his neighbor without premeditation, and did not hate him beforehand. Verse 6. And he shall dwell in that city until he stands before the congregation for judgment, until the death of the one who is high priest in those days. Then the manslayer shall return to his own city, and to his own house, to the city from which he fled. So this person is going to actually have to, in a sense, stand trial. And if he's found not guilty, he's going to stay in this city of refuge, protected against the avenger. But then and this is hard to understand, I don't fully understand it, when the high priest dies, then he can go back to his home city and reside. It's kind of unusual, hard for us to understand, but within their system, I guess it was fully understandable. Verse 7, so they set apart Kadesh in Galilee in the hill country of Naphtali, and Shechem in the hill country of Ephraim, and Kiriath Arba, that is Hebron, in the hill country of Judah. And beyond the Jordan, east of Jericho, they designated Bezer in the wilderness on the plain from the tribe of Reuben, and Ramoth and Gilead from the tribe of Gad, and Golan and Bashan from the tribe of Manasseh. These were appointed cities for all the sons of Israel, and for the stranger who sojourns among them, that whoever kills any person unintentionally may flee there, and not die by the hand of the avenger or blood, until he stands before the congregation. Now the implication is, once he stands trial before the congregation, if it's determined that it was premeditated, then they would impose capital punishment on the individual. It's interesting that this concept of sanctuary cities today is applied completely different. It's like, if you flee to our city, then you don't have anything to worry about. We're not going to cooperate with the authorities. We're not going to threaten you in any way. You're just kind of a get out of jail free card. And that's completely different from the concept of sanctuary cities that we see here in chapter 20. It's kind of a temporary protective custody until you stand trial, and it's determined officially what's going to happen to you. So now we've seen the division of the land, the appointment of sanctuary cities, and we're going to stop there today. But next time we're going to look at how the Levites are taken care of, because remember, they didn't get any block of land within the promised land, but they've been promised cities, and we'll see how that goes in chapter 21. We'll stop there today. I hope this has been meaningful to you, and I hope you'll watch the future videos. In the meantime, God bless. Bye-bye.